Hello and welcome to Mcedam's universe of DVD collecting. Today we'll be looking at my sci-fi collection. Uh, the rest of my sci-fi collection, because most of it is Doctor Who and comic book movies, which you can kind of class, and they're their own thing in my collection. So this is kind of like the rest of the sci-fi movies. So let's start with Predator. It's a great movie. Not as good as the Arnold one. I love the story. I love the twist at the end. My only problem with it is that some of the acting seemed out of place for this kind of movie. The Day the Earth Stood Still, which was an okay movie. This is the remake, by the way, with Keanu Reeves. It was okay. I haven't seen the original, which I've really wanted to. Yeah, it was a great movie. I thought it was enjoyable. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It was so awesome to see it start from this cutesy kind of movie about apes developing to this war against man, against apes on monkeys, on horses, and everything was just bringing down to a climax. It's one of the most epic movies I've ever seen, ever, because it builds up so much and it pays off so well. So well. It's a great movie. Sunshine, overrated piece of rubbish. Flash Gordon, so cheesy, but that's all it is, really. It's just cheesy. I love Flash Gordon. I love the franchise. I watch the serials, but this is just a cheesy movie. If you really love cheesy movies, you've got to watch Flash Gordon. iRobot. Sorry about that. iRobot. I really enjoyed this movie. I would consider it a classic in my own personal eye. I wouldn't say it's a classic for everyone. And I would say that because I grew up with this movie. And I don't know if it's just generally a good movie or if my nostalgia is holding it where it belongs in my heart as a good movie. So make that as you will. The Fly, my second favourite movie of all time, beaten by The Avengers. Yeah, Jeff Goldblum, great cast. The woman, I can't remember her name, she was awesome in it. And the guy who was like a boss slash ex-boyfriend, he was so hilariously evil. I love this movie. It's one of my favourite movies. If you want to get into movie making, watch this movie. It is amazing. The effects, oh my god, the effects are amazing. Inception, what a load of rubbish, boring, and everybody keeps telling me it's really complex, it's really in deep, but all it is just people going in a dream, and then in that dream, they go into another dream. That's it. That's all you need to know about this movie, and it's stretched out for 2 bloody hours. Oh. Demolition Man, used to be hated, but now it's praised as one of the greatest sci-fi action movies out there, and I couldn't agree more. Because it's kind of like, what should we do when our lives are basically in control? And some people believe it, some people don't, and some people, one thinks one's great, and the other thinks that the other is just pure evil. And the moral of the story is that it's neither, and it's both at the same time. We should be protected, of course, but we shouldn't be like total maniacs and just going around the street killing whoever we want, blah, 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 blah. Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. It's a bland, boring movie, but that was the point. It was playing a tribute to films of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So I don't know if I would enjoy it because I don't know if I'd enjoyed it, I said, because it was fun, I guess, but I knew that it was just being stupid and using the excuse that it was playing tribute. So, I don't know. Pacific Rim, great cheesy movie by Del Toro, who does some of the greatest cheesy movies out there, and he's also done the Hellboy franchise, which are a great movie franchise. And there's this, and I can't wait to see more from Del Toro. I love this movie. Yes. King Kong versus Godzilla. Uh, I've heard this is really great in Japan, but however, the English dub of this adds in a lot of extra pointless scenes of people talking about the biology of Godzilla and King Kong, and it was like half the freaking movie, and it was so boring, it was so dull, and I was so disappointed. I must watch a sub version of this, which is the subtitles, but yeah. Now we get onto the Riddick franchise. The spines don't match. It's really annoying. Here we go. Pitch Black. It's boring, but it leads up to what could consider to be a great movie franchise, which is well, not a great movie, but like a cheesy movie franchise with people just full of angst and darkness and guns and all that. It's so cheesy, but this one is the first one, and this one's probably my least favorite because it's a bit boring and it focuses more on these annoying human characters when we should be focusing on Riddick. The animated movie Dark Fury. I like it, and I love the idea of an animated Riddick film because I think the stories can lead up some great stories and animation. But the story in this was just so weird, and it didn't fit into at all at the Riddick franchise. It's about this woman who freezes people into stone or some rubbish like that. I can't remember that much. There you go. Riddick 2, it should have said, but it actually says Chronicle of Riddick. This is probably my favourite of the movies, mainly for the fact that it just glorifies and how cheesy it's dark and angst and guns and violence and all that is. And yeah, it's so cheesy, it's so fun, but it's not a great movie. Riddick 3, it should say. It was boring at the start, but then it got better as it goes along. I think it's like a mixture of all the three. It doesn't feel much like a Riddick movie sometimes. Sometimes it's a bit boring, but then sometimes it's a lot of fun. So it's kind of like the essential Riddick movie, if you get me. RoboCop trilogy. RoboCop 1, loved. RoboCop 2, I can't remember that much. I think it was alright. Maybe it was just boring and I just don't remember it. And then RoboCop 3 was pants, and it's my father's least favourite movie of all time. There you go. Back to the Future trilogy. It is one of the greatest movie trilogies of all time. I love it. I love all of them equally. I would consider it one big massive movie instead of like 3 parts, but that's just me. I always watch them back to back. Yeah, one of the greatest movie trilogies of all time. Terminator franchise, which on this disc has Terminator 1, which is my personal favourite because I love the style, the settings, I love the characters in this one more than the rest, I'm afraid. Sorry, people who prefer Terminator 2, which is, I believe, is a really great movie as well. So nobody hate me out there. But I just prefer the first one. But that's just me. And I do really enjoy Terminator Judgment. And there's nothing wrong with it. I just prefer the first one. The third one, which is just so goddamn cheesy, so goddamn stupid. It wasn't bad. I mean, for what it could have done, because let's be honest, what could you do after Terminator 2? There's just nowhere to go, so they may as well do it the way they did, which they did. And then Salvation, which was a boring movie, boring as hell until the very end. But apart from that, it was kind of bland. Some of the characters weren't that interesting, especially like the main guy who has a twist at the end, but it's not really that twist because everyone could see it coming if you watch the trailer. But there you go. Now from one of my favourite my favourite TV show of all time. One of many, of course, my favourite is Doctor Who, but Firefly, which is kind of like this Western-themed show set in the future and sci-fi, but it's kind of more of a Western than it is a sci-fi. But it's one of the greatest shows ever made, and Fox were an idiot to cancel it because there was so much going for it, and there was so little that they did, but they had so much potential, and it was so fun and it was so great. But luckily, we had I can't pronounce it. I would say it's a fitting end to the franchise. Some people say it's rushed. Some people say that it just tries to do so much at so little time. I don't know. I kind of really enjoyed it. I thought it fit perfectly, and it was one of the best movies in the sci-fi genre. I love what they did with River, and I love the franchise, and I love the Firefly franchise, and I wish we do get more, but because I love the characters so much. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, one of Douglas Adams' creation, one of the famous sci-fi writers of all time. It's great, it's quirky, it's hilarious. This is the TV show, by the way. It was amazing. It's hilarious if you like 80s humor and all that. And then we got the movie. Some people love it, some people hate it. I personally really enjoyed it. I really love the "So Long and Thanks for All the Fish" song that they added at the start. I thought it was really enjoyable. It's really funny if you like sci-fi and you know a lot about sci-fi and science in general. Sorry about that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this movie. Don't panic, you know. And then we get to the Star Trek franchise. So the first one is The Wrath of Khan, which is my third favourite movie of all time. Kirk, Spock, Khan, Chekhov, Dr. McCoy, some of the greatest characters in sci-fi history. I don't care, Star Trek haters. Star Trek, in my opinion, is better than Star Wars. I love the Star Trek franchise that much, and I love Star Wars, so that's saying a lot. Yeah. And as you can see, I've customized these DVD covers because DVD covers, you know. First Contact, which is a great movie. The first one to set the Next Generation cast with Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard. I prefer the original series cast, if I gotta be honest. But I did grow up on the Next Generation cast. So it's kind of like something that I proper love, turned to something that I grew up with. And that's how I fell in love with the show. Then we get, which is the 2009 movie, but I called it The Future Begins because I needed to give it a title. I think it was a great movie. It obviously has some weak points. The villain isn't that interesting. Some bits don't make sense in terms of character developments, in terms of how the universe is supposed to work. But it's a great movie. It's a great movie. And it brings a lot of mainstream audiences into the Star Trek franchise. If you're someone who doesn't think they like sci-fi, they think, like, you know, you wouldn't say you're a nerd or say, I say this is the Star Trek movie for you. It's made to be mainstream, which I know is a hated word in the sci-fi community, mainstream, but that's what the movie was trying to do, and I think it succeeded, and I think it did well in succeeding. And then we get the big one. We get the Star Wars original trilogy, which, I mean, let's be honest, the greatest movies of all time, some would say. I don't think it's as good as Star Trek, I gotta be honest, but I do really, really love the Star Wars trilogy with The New Hope, which is a classic. I think these are the special editions with the added effects, I'm afraid. The Empire Strikes Back, which is the greatest of the Star Wars movies, in my opinion. And then we got Return of the Jedi, which is, I think it's the weakest of the three of the original trilogy. But, and I think it's got one of the worst added thing in the special edition, but it also has one of the best, which is the song at the end. So yeah, I mean, what can you say about Star Wars that hasn't been said? So anyway, that's my sci-fi collection. Thank you for watching.